Hi everyone, welcome back to another Make It Meaningful. I'm Garden Girl Jen Gallacher. So this week the Garden Girls have been talking about how they're inspired. And I want to share with you one way in that I was inspired this week. And I have a few of my journals from when I was a little girl. They're very official looking, aren't they? They're just notebooks. And I wanted to show you a peek into one of them. This is what it looks like. It has my handwriting, my very artistic drawings, and I was inspired to create a layout. Since this month we're talking about heritage and memories that we have from the past, I thought, my goodness, what a great idea to incorporate some of my journaling into a layout. And I've kept lots and lots of journals, and so I just took a photograph of some of the inside pages to help me remember that I am a journal keeper and that I love keeping journals. So this week the challenge is I want you to be inspired by something from your past. It could be a medal that you won or a trophy, a journal like mine that you kept, or it could be anything that just inspires you. Then take a photo of it. That may require setting up a photo shoot for that. I recommend shooting it on a white poster board, as that draws the best colors, and do it in a window that grabs a lot of light but doesn't have direct sunlight. That'll give you the best photo possible. Once you have your photo, go ahead and start your layout. In the layout, discuss why the object is important and why you want to remember it. This is a different way to record an object that is important to you, because once you have passed it on to someone else, they will not understand the significance of it if you haven't spelled it out. So be inspired by things around you. Let's go ahead and get started with this week's layout. So we're going to start with a piece of 12 by 12 cardstock, and behind it I have just a couple sheets of printer paper. If you have a misting sheet, that might be even better. I'm going to use an older color from Mr. Huey's. It's Taxi, but basically any yellow color will work. And then I'm going to dot a few extra dots on it. And then we'll allow that to dry. If you want it to dry more quickly, you just need to use a dryer, such as like a heat embossing gun. So let's go ahead and let that set. So I've gone ahead and let it dry. I did cheat a little bit and use a heat embossing gun to dry it a little bit. When you're doing that, make sure that you hold the heating gun far enough above your project, or else your dots will turn into blotches. But it doesn't matter, we're just having fun today, so we're gonna go ahead and use it like this. Then to the bottom of the layout, I'm going to take a sheet of 8.5 by 11 inch cardstock, and it is craft cardstock, and we'll attach that to this white piece of cardstock, and we'll leave a little bit at the bottom. I like that it already frames the layout and I haven't had to do any work. Then what we'll do is we're going to add a sticker, and this particular sticker is from a collection called My Life. This is actually the collection kit cover, and I have the entire collection kit. I'm going to be using a lot of the stickers, and the stickers are what inspired the color scheme for this layout. So this is a mini theme from Echo Park, and it contains 2 of each of the papers and then 1 sticker sheet. So I've cut the camera out from the back of the paper, and we're going to overlap that slightly onto our layout. And then on top of that, I'm going to take the label die cut. Just trying to create a layer here. And then the script hello. And it is in 2 pieces. And I did cut it from the backing to make sure that I like the look of it. Do make sure to remove all of the center pieces of the sticker. And we'll overlap both the label and the actual camera sticker. And then we'll add the H. Now, something that inspired me from the collection is that I noticed there were a lot of numbers, and because I'm doing this about a journal that I once kept as a child, I like the concept of numbers and age and time and all those things. So using a subtle theme for this, I'm going to add some die-cut border strips cut from varieties of paper that match the collection kit that I'm using today. And I've cut them in slightly different varying heights and widths, just to give the project a little bit more interest. So what we'll do is we'll take one of these scratch piece of papers, We'll add some adhesive to the back. You can use the 2-piece exclusive die cut shapes. There's some beautiful ones from Vilna that she has designed specifically and exclusively for 2-piece, and you'll want to try those out. Now you'll notice that I ripped the 7. No big deal. I'll show you why. And this happens sometimes when you're being impatient or a little aggressive with your die cut shapes. All you need to do is add adhesive to the shape and then slide it up behind where the cut or tear took place. And then it is barely noticeable. So we can make it work, just like in the video I mentioned last week. We just make it work. Again, this one is yellow. All colors were inspired from the My Life color scheme. And because this is a journaling page, it really doesn't matter what colors I use, which gives me the freedom. I also want to point out that although this month we're discussing vintage and times past, that your color scheme doesn't have to reflect the times past. You can do a color scheme that is bold, like this one. You could even do neon. It brings those subjects into the now. So you have to decide what is a good fit for a heritage or vintage style layout, and then make it work for you. So there are a lot of options with this kind of project. All right, I also don't want every single die cut to be layered on top of the other. So I'm going to place this green one underneath before I place the red one on top. I want to create the look of randomness on this particular layout. You could repeat this same concept by using different border shapes, or you could use different pattern papers. You could even replace some of the numbers with a pattern pieced die cut shape. So say we removed the 8 and we replaced it with a die cut pattern from the pattern paper. So you could even make this more random in nature. To the bottom of the layout, I'm going to take some of the red dot pattern paper that has the months of the year on it and add it to the bottom of that craft cardstock, just to bring some pattern to this layout. So I cut the full 12 by 12 border across, and then I can just trim it off with a pair of scissors. So this is what it looks like so far with the die cut elements and the pattern paper at the bottom. So I've printed off a photo, and you can see it is of 3 of my old journals, and I actually found my birthday, December 13th, and you can see that I have these elaborate drawings, and I love that it shows my handwriting as a child. So once I put it on the layout, I realized that I'm going to lose this green border strip. So I'm going to set this to the side because I do want to use it, but we're going to use it in a different way than I originally planned. Place this on the layout. We're going to overlap that number grid at the top. And then to the side, I'm going to take some of the pattern paper that has journaling cards on one side and numbers on the other. And remember, you do get 2 sheets if you get the collection kit. So if you do want to use the pattern side and you're worried about cutting through your journaling cards, you can use the extra piece for your journaling cards. Overlap this on the left, and then to this I'm going to add some journaling, and I've printed it on the blue pattern paper, or rather cardstock, and it talks about how I recently rediscovered my journals when my mother cleaned out her closet, and what it felt like to go through them and laugh over some things that I wrote that at the time seemed very important. And it was fun to see how my handwriting has changed and my interests have changed. Alright, so I've placed that, and I used a photo corner punch to punch 2 sides. Now I want to show you one way that you can incorporate this green border strip again. I'm going to pop off the 8, 9, and 0, and I'm going to overlap the numbers just a little bit, and that creates an entirely new look. Now I'm going to machine stitch this border strip just to give it a little bit of texture in the middle of the page. So here's what it looks like stitched. I determine where to stitch. I usually do it in sets of 3. So there's one here and then a double stitch down here. But again, it just gives it a little bit of texture. To the side of the left side of the photo, I'm going to take some Days of the Week stickers from the collection, and add them to the page. And they're already ready to go. And one fun thing that you can do is that not all of them have to lay flat. One of the ways that I like to add interest to a layout is to add adhesive foam dots to some of the stickers, and then it takes an inexpensive embellishment, a sticker, and it just makes it far more interesting. You also notice that I'm trying not to add, or rather align, all of the stickers on the left. So we do want to make sure that we get the days of the week correct. Pull up that Thursday sticker carefully and add the Wednesday sticker instead. So do watch as you're placing them down, and then you can place additional stickers however you like along the edge. And then since I ripped the Thursday sticker, again, like we talked about last week, we're just going to make it work. We're going to take one of the extra label stickers, and then across the center of that, I'm going to add a word strip sticker from the same collection kit. And we'll just use that label sticker to give it a little bit more presence on the page. This one says, "Enjoy every day." Just play with it until you get the placement where you want. Then I wanted to add another sticker from this collection to the top, and again I've added adhesive foam dots. It's the This Crazy Life. Let's go right at the top here, and again foam dots to stick it down. And then something fun, I wanted to bring in some texture to the layout, so I'm going to use these cork navigation icons, and we'll adhere them with some glue dots. Do be careful as you add the glue dots that you don't tear them away from the glue dots, as they're rather thin. I started to pull up this hello sticker because I think I can use it in another way. So I'm going to set this aside for a second, and I'm going to add a border strip to the bottom of the layout, right underneath that red dot pattern paper. And then I'll use my fingers to crinkle it up a little bit. Just to give it some more interest and dimension. And then I may end up machine stitching this bottom section before I show you the final result, but I'm still deciding on that. To the top of the journaling, I'm going to add a chalkboard banner. And then to the center of that, I'm going to take a pinked circle. It is a Martha Stewart punch, and I've just punched it from the same craft cardstock that I've used before. And then because there are 3 journals, I'm going to focus on the number 3 that I got from the element stickers from this collection. Make sure that it sits upright. And to finish it off, I am going to add the hello back down at the bottom. I think it makes more sense and stands out a little bit more here. But I do want to be careful not to cover up the words on the journaling page. So just think about that when you're working with placement. And I don't place them down all the way until I like them. One final thing I added was some cork letter stickers and some parentheses on each side, and to the center of the U to make it stand out a little bit because the cork gets a little lost. I'm going to take a button tied with twine, and because it is a raised sticker, I'm going to use some foam dots on the bottom of the button, and I'll smash them down a little bit, and then I'll trim off the extra twine. So there you have a layout that uses an In the Now collection to describe a heritage type theme. And it is not a portrait photo, it is rather an object photo, and yet it helps to tell the story best. Thank you for joining me for today's Make It Meaningful. Be sure to subscribe to the 2Ps YouTube channel so you don't miss out on any of these videos, and look for the playlist on our YouTube channel that corresponds with this series.